ourselves short with minor league baseball. The mayor is attempting to claim that the attached supermarket in this plan will make more food accessible in a food desert. It won't. There is already a supermarket in Chaco Bottom. I don't love it. It's not my favorite grocery store, but it exists. This will make the supermarket only slightly closer to the true food deserts surrounding Mosby and Creighton. Beyond construction, any jobs produced by this deal will be minimum wage and precarious. Stadium jobs are low-paying and they're seasonal. The East End needs and deserves more than that.
Yes, it do.
Mayor Jones is on a quest to privatize and overdevelop many public and private spaces that require more thoughtful and careful planning. Within the last few months, we have seen Venture Richmond and Mayor Jones propose total changes to Chaco Bottom, the redevelopment of Creighton Court that will displace hundreds as the East End gentrifies overnight, the privatization of Tredegar and Browns Island and Monroe Park, the redeveloping of the Boulevard and Hull Street and Southside. Let's slow things down and think things through before Mayor Jones wastes precious taxpayer money making a handful of Richmonders very rich and happy.
Tell it, girl.
Richmond is a beautiful, vibrant city.
And you guys are taking time away from other people that want to talk.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
he's a rude sucker.
Good evening.
And crude.
My name is Kwame Benta, and I live in the 6th District. I'm not represented by anybody because of this war on drugs, I'm not able to vote at this time. So I'm one of those people they call tax without representation. The founding fathers, had to vote because they wasn't represented. They were taxed to death. I'm here to speak in opposition to building a stadium in Chaco Bottom. We're really wasting time right now standing here talking about this issue. This should
Because they already know what they're going to do.
We got more
Dirty
pressing
sucker.
issues to address in the city of Richmond and in the United States and throughout the planet. We've been building a stadium where it makes no sense to build because of the location. It's already congested, okay? To add more traffic there is going to contribute to pollution, okay? Using fuel that we don't need to be using because they made hemp illegal years ago when hemp could meet all the world's energy needs.
gas.
Have environmentally friendly fuel and not be using nuclear fuels also, okay? We have a lot of things that we need to address, and the baseball field down Chaco Bottom is not going to do it.
She look like she
We need
paying
jobs.
attention.
We need vocational schools, technical schools for our youth. Our schools are falling apart. I come over here from Southside, and there's potholes everywhere. We need to be fixing up the infrastructure of this city.
That's right.
Building schools that do not have names of Confederate soldiers that we send our children to school for. I don't think any Jew would send his child to a school named after Hitler.
Come on now. That's right. Tell it. That's
Here
right.
in the United States. So I'm here to oppose that, and like they said, vote for it, and we will not see you here again. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Robert Gavey. I'm a resident of the 2nd District and an employee of the Richmond Schools. My family's lineage carries the blood, burden, and guilt of 10 generations of participation in the transatlantic slave trade.
Speak out.
My family's lineage carries the blood, burden, and guilt of 10 generations of participation in the transatlantic slave trade. The purchase and sale of human beings who were granted less humanity than beasts of burden. The sins of my ancestors contributed to their victims' moral decimation, forced confinement, and at times murder. The legacy of their actions is the social trauma faced by black people in the United States of America today. The shameful legacy can be seen and heard by all, but it is felt by many every day. Council, I implore you not to bury my ancestors' sins beneath condominiums, stores, and the baseball stadium, but to divert that money to the schools so that I may better teach the children what my forefathers have done.
That sounds good.
Hi, my name is Claire Chute. I'm a lot of things, but I am for a historical area in Chaco Bottom and a state-of-the-art slavery museum. I just wanted to read two things really quickly. One is a piece from Richmond Times-Dispatch endorsement yesterday, and I put endorsement in quotes because it was very bizarre. Quote, "We concede that our enthusiasm remains measured. In an ideal world, the public sector would not be involved with stadiums for sports teams. Franchises should build their own venues. Stadiums and arenas do not have a sterling record regarding neighborhood revitalization and overall economic benefit. Most have failed to deliver." That was in your endorsement. The second piece I'm reading is part of a letter that's been going around on the internet that I think is really sums a lot up. "I'm writing you this afternoon because we are at a major crossroads in the great city of Richmond. In the next couple of weeks, you will be asked to vote on a variety of issues that will weigh very heavily on the future in the city and the people within it for many decades to come. While there are a variety of different development projects, including Revitalize RVA proposal, the Browns Island Amphitheater plan, and the ongoing management of Monroe Park on the table for you to soon vote on, there's a much more serious civic situation that you have a heavy burden of addressing. The yay or nay ballot that each of you will cast in regards to Mayor Jones' Shockoe Stadium proposal will be a vote on much more than whether or not to build a historic site in Shockoe Bottom. It has now become a yay or nay vote to validate a model of how business is to be conducted by both nonprofit organizations and well-funded commercial enterprises in the city of Richmond. Over the past 4 months since Mayor Jones' initial announcement of the Revitalize RVA plan, his conduct, as well as that of Venture Richmond's in loving RVA, has been questionable at best and spinelessly manipulative at worst. To both the democratic process and the nonprofit model that has been the heart of much of RVA's lifestyle and cultural expansion over the past 3 to 5 years. In the surface, it may appear that there's a large amount of support in the form of Facebook likes and signatures from both the commercial and nonprofit sectors of the city for this plan. The reality is that many of RVA's small businesses are kept in silent financial stranglehold around raising questions or concerns around the Revitalize RVA plan. I'm going to give the rest off.
Hey, next speaker.
My name is Katie Hamilton, and I will be finishing. Because many of our city's nonprofit organizations receive funding from major corporations such as Capital One, Bond Secures, and Altria, there has been a passive-aggressive mandate issued that if you want to keep receiving funds for your organization, you must go along with a stadium plan or risk losing some of your funding for your organization. This has been echoed by a number of different employees across many sectors under the cover of anonymity for fear of fiscal retribution. Many of these organizations know that building another recreational facility is not in the best interest of the city. Regardless of the mayor's blind eye to the educational issues in RVA's currently rock-bottom education system, most RVA taxpayers are overwhelmingly agree that our schools and infrastructure across the entire city are the immediate priority, not a recreational sports and an illogical design that puts a hotel right next to 7,000 screaming fans and fireworks going off at 9 o'clock at night. It doesn't take a civil engineer to understand the problems around that and many of the shoddy details around financial liability and infrastructure assessments for this project. But alas, nothing can be said by many local organizations about the fear of losing much needed funding, dollars, and threats of being whitelisted from certain opportunities regardless of this deal is successfully railroaded through or not. That is a detrimental and unfavorable situation for businesses, their employees, the city, our culture, and the democratic process as a whole. So this is where you, our elected city officials, come into play. You have the authority and power to end this. You and only you have the ability to let these people and organizations within our city know that this is not the model that is appropriate for how business is to be conducted in Richmond now or ever in the future. Because if you validate their actions, empower these cultural bullies holding many of our beloved organizations hostage, and allow the Revitalize Richmond plan to proceed, you will undoubtedly and irreversibly debase the culture of this business of politics in the city forever.
Next speaker, please. Hi, Ms. Hamilton.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Henning Davis. I'm a member of the 2nd District, and I've written to you, all of you ad nauseum. I'm sure you're sick of hearing from me. And a lot of what I have said in my emails is reflected by other speakers tonight. What I'd like to address very quickly is the parking scene that is proposed there. I watched David Hicks this weekend. I've been watching videos all weekend to learn more about this. And David Hicks said the other night that there was no problem at the Siegel Center with 7,000 people coming in to the middle of the city to watch a basketball game, the VCU basketball games.
Yes,
And
it
I live
is.
in that district. I live very close to the Siegel Center, and I beg to say that that is incorrect. Our neighborhood is clogged up every time there's a basketball game. And there's nothing that people like better than free parking. You can direct them to parking deck after parking deck, that they're going to go into the neighborhoods and they're going to park where they can park for free. And there are businesses in Shopperville, in Churchill, places where I like to go on a Friday night for an art opening, for example, that I will probably never find a parking spot. And because there are people who are going to ignore the parking decks, and they're going to go into the neighborhoods and park for free. So that's all I'd like to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hank. Folks, just so you know, it's 7:48, it's 7:53, our time
Oh,
is
so
up to 5 minutes
speak
left.
wise,
I'm going to extend it to 6 minutes for 3 speakers. So the next 3 people are available. After that, we're going to cut it off.
President, that's not fair. Whoever's in line, we let them speak. If they're in line, let them speak, because I told you earlier what was going to happen, but, you know, with all this thing.
Hard head.
They were standing in line all the way around there, so now, you know, we didn't cut them off after 2 minutes, you got to go on. So whoever's in line right now, you cut it off right there, but let everybody that's in line let them speak.
The will of the council.
Yes.
Mr. President, I second Ms. Trammell's sentence.
Very good.
Ha, ha.
The line is cut off. Yes, Ms. President.
I concur too, but the line is cut off.
Ms. Estes, are you last in line? Okay, Ms. Estes is the last speaker on the opposition. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Eva Rocha. I am not from Richmond. I am not even from the United States. But I think a place where such as atrocities as the killing of many enslaved people took place, it doesn't belong to a city anymore. It belongs to the whole human.
The people.
humankind, the whole humanity.
That's right.
I think one cannot go to Hiroshima, for example, and say that they want to build a ball dance where the bomb
The ballpark.
fell dropped. Or in the Berlin Wall and ask to put a
Stadium.
soccer field there. And I think when the September 11 events took place, I remember seeing many cars with bump stickers that say, September 11, a date that the world should never forget. I think the burial of the enslaved people is a place,
That's
a date
right.
that the world
Should never forget. That's right.
I
That's
think
right, baby.
Richmond should not go to the book histories as a place that ignore its history and put a carnival in the top of its history, but a place that
That's right.
respects and acknowledges its
That's
history
right.
and use it to promote peace.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right, baby. That's right.
Hello, I'm Martha Rollins, and I want to be very
crook.
clear, I'm fully retired. I'm
Good.
speaking as a citizen of Richmond for 50 years, who lives in Bird Park. I'm a passionate advocate of this place, but I represent no organization. This last summer, my husband was stabbed, and
Good. Should have
I
killed
learned a
him.
lot about wound healing, and we continually refer to the wound of slavery. Let me share what I learned about wound healing. The surgeon said it is critical that the wound not heal from the top. It must heal from the bottom. And to do that, every day, sometimes twice a day for months, the nurses would have to come in, push gauze down into the 4-inch thing, and leave
They
it.
should have
And then
killed
come
his
out
ass.
and then pull it out next time and push some more in until eventually it healed. It was very painful. We have finally, I would just like to know, we put Band-Aids on the wound of slavery for all these years. We wouldn't look at it. We didn't want to know what was happening when it was happening. We really don't want to honor, it feels to me,
You
enough of us
promote
want
it.
to honor and remember and heal. So I would ask us not to put a ballpark and end the chance for this to be a true healing. In 30 years from now, do we want to have a ballpark that's out of date, or do we want to have the possibility that Richmond has moved further along in true healing of a national wound? Also, the thought that, well, there's going to be a heritage center, to me, just to accept that little as an accommodation. We've accommodated too long to power. We need to be bold and
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
thank you.
Mr. Shin.
I'm in awe. As I stood in the line, repeatedly I found myself choked up at the edge of tears. I'm in awe at our city. And I want to do reverse citizens appreciation. I want to thank this city administration, Mr. Marshall, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank you, Mr. Samuels. I want to thank this council for your part in collusion with Venture Richmond as members and funding it. I want to thank you for your high-priced cheerleaders, because you've done something that 46 years of my protesting has never been able to do. You have united us. Thank you very much. I will support putting the Richmond Squirrels baseball stadium in Shockoe Bottom when you agreed to change the name to the Richmond Slaves, and instead of nutsy dancing the squirrel dance when the home runs hit, we can do a chain drag down to the face.
Wow. Alan. God darn.
How are you? My name is Ilya Aristotle Davis. I'm on the 4th District. He left off by saying that he was in awe. And I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed as an African American. I'm ashamed as a Christian, because we're talking about a man that is oh so powerful. But we're talking about
God gonna take him down.
Get the chance for leadership, and this is what we get.
That's right. From the beginning, the pastor from hell. The pastor from hell with all his followers.
These same individuals that are African Americans, I understand you. Because these are the same individuals that are parts of 501c7 clubs.
Come on.
Richmond, Virginia,
That's right.
Club 533, where the best minds, the best African American minds reside. And we're
They
talking
don't
about
use them.
a baseball club in Shockoe Bottom,
They
but
don't
in all
use
of
it.
our sororities, all of our
Fraternities, come on.
even when it comes to the Christian church,
Come on
we don't
now.
have one club in low-income areas
Come on
for
now.
our young people.
Come on,
And this
talk
isn't
about
even-
it.
This isn't about real economics at all.
No, it's not.
This is about raising money from a tax base.
That's right,
When young
again.
people, I'm connected to a people that 1 out of 2 says to CNN today, by the age of 23 are being arrested. But
Yeah.
that's not an issue.
Or being
I'm a
killed.
part of a people where even the most educated of us, half of those, the African American males that have degrees, can't find a job.
Come on, come on.
And the most affluent of us, Mr. Marshall and Mr. Mayor,
Come on now, tell them. That's right.
1.8% of the businesses
In
in
the
America
city, that's right.
that employ more than one person. We don't have any supermarket,
Come
no
on.
convenience store.
That's right.
And we're talking about a $703 billion
2
industry.
minutes are up. Would you like to summarize, please?
Yeah, I want to summarize too, because I'm
Tell them
talking
what you
about-
think.
I'm talking about a solution. Convenience stores in low-income areas are making an average of $1 million
Come on.
a year.
That's that-
with
that's
nothing
right.
given back to our area.
That's right.
So I'm talking about a community cooperative convenience store and some real revitalization. Because the last thing is this, I grew up there on the bottom in Brooklyn.
That's right.
And the jobs that's going to be offered in Shockoe Bottom,
Come on.
I mean, we're not going to get any of it.
Come on now. That's right. Time for change. We are one race, the human race.
Members, I have not heard anybody yet address the item of the lease. I attended the finance committee, and the little word lease was added to the resolution, which was a bald-faced attempt to subvert the full needed council vote to acquire land. I would like to point out to you that some of this land is owned by a convicted felon who not only pleaded guilty to bribing a city council member, but also pled guilty to defrauding the city out of a tax abatement. Now, in your private life, if someone defrauds you, are you going to turn around when they get out of prison and build a new house on their land? That is what they're asking you to do. The convicted felon's close business partner is Secretary of Venture Richmond. This has subverted the democratic process. The Venture Richmond has pumped tens of thousands of dollars for the benefit of its secretary into this promotion campaign. Venture Richmond, you've all seen the billboards. You've all seen the full-page ad in the City Recreational Journal. We've all seen the advertising, the petitions that Venture Richmond has paid for. Venture Richmond is a 501c3, ladies and gentlemen, and by law, they're not even permitted to do this lobbying. The mayor, as you know, is president of Venture Richmond. I'm asking you to please consider how this looks. This smells like a 10-day-old fish.
That's right.
That's right. $2.8 million from the city and turning around and using that money against the citizens to lobby for a development that 2/3 of the citizens do not want. Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. Fish.
I'm sorry, I've got to go to the bathroom.
I just find it rather odd that nobody has mentioned or addressed the topic of traffic and congestion, especially what's been going on in the media lately due to a bunch of prankster politicians.
Pranksters.
How will this stadium affect the workers and rescue efforts at VCU Medical Center, which happens to be one of the best trauma hospitals on the East Coast? I worked there. I worked night shift. I worked evening shift. I worked day shift. I worked early day shift. It is extremely difficult to leave MCV. VCU health systems. It's really hard to leave the hospital, especially when you start heading up to Churchill. And the reason why I know that is because many of the 25,000 employees that work there park up the street. Parking is extremely expensive in that area, and in fact, unless you're pretty high up there in the ranks at MCV, you can't even park in their garage. You have to park up in Churchill. You have to walk at least 6-7 city blocks up the hill to park and to drive home. At that point, after working 12, 13 hours,
sounds like
people,
fun.
like I said, at MCV, they have some of the best surgeons in the country. Amazing research goes on. How does building a stadium support these great service workers that have probably saved members of your own families, including neonates, young people? I've worked with young people who were in major car wrecks, 16-year-olds, all day long, helping them get better. Do I want to encounter traffic and not be able to get home for an hour after serving a 12-hour shift? I don't think so. And no one has addressed that. And believe me,
you just a
I do
rude
think
sucker.
it will be a major problem, and it does not support our service workers at VCU Medical System that supports everyone in this community. Thank you.
Mr. Hughes.
My name is Mr. Charles Evans Hughes, Sr. Mr. Chairman, fellow council members, no, we do not want a baseball field in the
That's
bottom.
right. Say it
It will be a
again.
waste of money for the taxpayers, just like the 6th Street Market.
Yeah, come on now. Come on
and
now.
many other projects the
Name
city
it.
has wasted money
Sucks.
on. As far as the slave project, or museum in the bottom, get over it. I just walked a slave
Get
trail
over
to
it.
get to this podium to beg for my hard-earned money not to be spent on another wasted project.
That's
In
right.
Africa right now, there are slaves and blacks killing blacks every day.
That's
If
right.
your ancestors had not been brought to America,
Your
you would
ass
not
wouldn't be there.
alive today.
That's right. Tell them again. They don't think they don't think they Afro-Americans.
Put in, nothing will come out. We have a generation of bobbleheads.
They don't think they Afro-Americans.
There are bobbleheads on this city council.
That's right.
They'll fix his finger and they start to shake. This city is full of trash.
That's right.
Half-ass street paving and potholes everywhere. Street lights out everywhere.
That's how he feel.
3 months ago. Haven't got any help yet.
Come on.
The schools are terrible.
Come on.
Teachers have to be parents as well as teachers. And you so-called leaders want to build a ball down
Suck.
while the city
You
is
suck.
putting a hell in a basket.
Come
All
on.
of the council will be gone in a few years. Your name will be forgotten. The debt you put on the people will not be forgotten. The mayor loves Richmond so much, why is he building a church in Chesterfield?
Come on now. Tell them again, sucker.
Belong to his church. How many department heads are not filled, making it hard to get any service?
That's right. Tell it.
I mean, anybody with any sense.
Preach.
And I hope y'all soon get some. Thank you.
That's right. Tell them. Suckers.
Good evening, my name is Claire. I work with a number of grassroots organizations in the city. I believe that every person has the right to control their body and their reproduction. That was robbed from people who were trafficked through Richmond. I went to public schools and I visited Colonial Williamsburg and I visited Jamestown. I learned very little about human trafficking that went on. I learned very little about the sexual violence that happened. And I believe that to place a stadium over this ground is an act of silencing. And when we do that, we steal those really important stories from kids. And I think that that act of silencing is an act of violence in and of itself.
That's right. That's the way you take over. Silence the people.
In opposition to the stadium being in Chapel Bottom, the reasoning fundamentally spiritual and humane as a foundation. The mixed-use income model for economic development does not work. I live in public house, sat on the mayor's anti-poverty commission, on the Manuel Walker initiative for eliminating poverty
What
and
a joke.
expanding opportunity. Numbers do not work.
Add up.
I gave this information before the land use committee. We have to be very careful about rebuilding, they'll come later. We have countless decades of that. We are not opposed to authentic, integrity-centered development. This is none of that.
That's right.
When you look at the renderings, the baseball stadium overshadows the Heritage Museum. It's out the box wrong. If we feel like this is what we can do in order to honor our ancestors, it's not going to work. We need to be really cognizant of that. Thank you. Oh yeah, and some questions that someone gave me to put forward. I'm gonna type them up and email them to you all. But one question on here I thought was very telling. It's why has the Mayor's Tourism Commission not been consulted?
Thank you, Ms. That concludes those.
And they already had their minds made up. Their minds made up. Look at them. They already know. Look at the losers. Look like damn. I don't know what the hell they look like. They paid well. They paid off. These suckers are paid off.
Because all they're going to say is, this is a great idea. I'm not going to provide any facts or information.
And look at them. He think he gonna be the next mayor. Freaking loser.
As people exit or maneuver around, I ask that we keep it the dull roar, and we do still need to move forward with our meeting.
You suck.
Same rules apply. Please be respectful of your fellow Richmonders. Please remember you only have 2
Look at all
minutes.
them
Every
suckers.
second you go over possibly takes away from the time someone else may get to speak.
That's right. Give them 1
We have
minute
an hour
apiece.
to go. I have 8:10 on my clock. Yes, sir.
Good evening, President, Madam Vice President, and the City Council. I am Michael White, and I speak on behalf and my perspective is that of an entertainer that I came back to Richmond, Virginia. I would like to first ask, because I know we've had so much opposition.
Look at test tube,
if anyone that
baby.
is for this plan, could you please stand if you are for this plan?
Cause it's not, boo, cause it's not there. And look, child, please. Let's get ready to rumble.
Take all of council out of here. I will turn this building around and go back.
You like that, don't you, sucker?
Now,
Piece of crap.
just as you be respectful, booing.
You're not.
You learned that before we got to Kennedy.
You're not respectful. You already made up your mind.
Like adults, please. Mr. White.
Thank you. The reason I asked for people to stand wasn't necessarily to be against the ones that were in opposition to this plan. I think there's a lot of good that comes out of this plan. As I passed through Richmond, Virginia, I left Richmond.
You should have kept going.
To Los Angeles. When I came back, I only had plans to be here for 3 days, but because of what I had noticed Richmond growing into, I decided to make Richmond my resident again.
You don't have a
What I
clue.
see, 95, when we talk about history, 95 was one of those curses that really cursed our city, especially when we talk about Jackson Ward. Not even that, but if you drive up 95 South, you can see the beautiful city, the city line. If you notice, the city of Richmond has its back
Cut
to
in
the
half.
north. So there's nothing coming from the north that plants any imagination of what Richmond is about as people pass through. It's not just about how we feel in our community, but it's also about how us sitting in the middle of 95, one of the busiest freeways in the United States, people passing through sees our community. When they pass through, I think this diamond, not just the diamond, I want to get away from that because people keep saying baseball. It's so much more than just baseball that is in this plan. But the diamond is wrong. The development that was wrong the boulevard will create a
Child,
staple in people's
please.
mind that when they come through Richmond, Virginia, they'll know that progression is in progress, and it also makes us look like a city that is on the way to the top, which I really feel like we are.
Look like fake. Oh, look at test tube, baby.
Good evening. My name is Robert. Good evening, Council.
He's paid well for this.
I'm coming and speaking on behalf because I've talked to several people, not only in my community, but everyone's community. And ultimately, it's the plan that I look at and I see what we can do for this community. And I've seen the vision that the mayor has had. I think it takes a
You
bad
well
rap
paid.
because ultimately, even in the House of Delegates, he was for party. And I talk to people in my community, outside, everywhere, even in the county. They are for this because ultimately, the jobs, 400 jobs is a lot of jobs in people in my community. Not
Part-time,
being able to catch the bus,
seasonal.
using 2 different buses coming from Churchill, coming from Southside, Northside, but especially in my community in Churchill. 2 buses every day it's uncomfortable. We don't have no type of
These losers.
in the bottom. And ultimately, I think that we need to look at this plan. And honestly, I look at it every day and I see what
And she
poverty
use it as
and
toilet
despair
paper.
I see in my community and outside of the community. And ultimately, there's no jobs. Our community, especially the job market, is so thin and so fickle, and we are in influx. And I'm just sick and tired of this great white hope trying to come in our community and tell us what we need about our history. This is our history. This is something we know about. This is something that we are a part of. And this is something I go through every day. And I got someone saying what they need and what we need. And they're doing this for me. They're not doing it for me. They're not speaking for my community. They're not speaking for my people. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Look, child, please.
Members of Council, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Michael Schul. I've proudly lived in the city of Richmond for 34 years since I graduated from law school in 1979. Since moving here, I've been a corporate lawyer representing businesses that
That was
invest in
test
Richmond
tube,
and around the
baby,
world.
you all.
I served as Secretary of Commerce and Trade for the Commonwealth of Virginia from 2002 to 2006 under Governor Mark Warner. In that role, I was responsible for leading Virginia's economic development and business attraction efforts. I've also served on the board of a number of other economic development boards, including the Virginia Biotech Research Park Board, the Virginia Tobacco Commission, and the Southern Growth Policy Board. I now serve on the board of directors of 4 companies that have to make tough decisions about where to invest their capital and create new jobs. I go into this detail of my experience because I believe these 34 years of business and economic development activity have given me a particularly good insight into what it takes to attract business to our wonderful city. And that is why I speak tonight in favor of the stadium proposal that is before you.
Lord, have
This
mercy.
proposal and the economic development activity it will create in Shaka Bottom and on the Boulevard will attract business to the city and will create badly needed jobs.
On the
If this
boulevard.
proposal goes forward, the new business and the smart young people that create new businesses will see Richmond as a place that is seizing the opportunity to make new and exciting things happen in our city. Entrepreneurs want to be where the action is. These new projects will make
His
Richmond the
hands
center of
shaking. He's shaking like a leaf
existing
on the tree.
businesses
Look.
want to grow where they can offer urban amenities that help attract the best new employees. These new projects will create those amenities. Our citizens need job opportunities close to their homes and transportation routes. These new projects will create those kinds of jobs. It is very easy and safe to say no to new initiatives like the stadium project. My brother Steve was on the City Council of Durham, a place that you visited as part of this process, and he originally opposed the Durham Stadium, which he now happily recognizes he was in mistake of. That project carried risks with it. Any new project, any new idea has some risks. But the bigger risk is doing nothing.
Your 2 minutes are up. Would you like to start?
Yes. The bigger risk is doing nothing and letting slip the unique economic opportunity that these projects present for our city. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ranger.
Husband, Pastor Mal of the church in Richmond, 7th District. Mr. President, Madam Vice President, and specifically Councilwoman Newbill, members of the council. I did want to, it's been a long time since I've been in front of this microphone, but I did want to, I was sitting here for all of the opposition, and everybody seemed to be very polite until the time came to stand for something. I did want to say this. I've been in Richmond 34 years now. And this is the first time in 34 years I've ever heard this much excitement about preserving African American history. I think it's very strange that we would talk about this when there's development going on in Shaka Bottom, or is there some other underlying thing that we've not really addressed. I do think it's important for us to protect the burial ground. But then again, if we're going to protect something, maybe we shouldn't build anything in Richmond, because all of Richmond, all of Virginia should be sacred. I've written down
Monument Avenue for 34 years and seen the statues. I've been to the Confederate Museum. People share their history about things that have really pained people like me. But now, when it's time to talk about putting up a museum, we want to dedicate it to slaves. I don't think we ought to be dedicating to slaves. We ought to be talking about history and preserving the history of people who have done great things for this country. A baseball stadium, I want to just address for just a moment. I really believe that sports is a lost thing in Richmond. I grew up in Chicago where we played baseball every day, every summer of the summertime, and it gave something for inner city kids to do. For once, I was excited that inner city kids could come, I'm going to sum it up on this, could come to to see a stadium. There's something about an emotional value that cannot be judged. Pride takes a while to surface. And as these children begin to see something in their neighborhood that they can take pride in, it's going to make a tremendous difference. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, members of City Council, my name is Charles Willis, and I come in support of the development down in Shacobah. And even though I've heard even this earlier tonight that there are those that disrespect those that may be in support or those that may be in opposition, it saddens me that we can't come together as a community to make a decision that's better for one another. I've learned growing up in the Churchill part of Richmond that you mind your own business. Whatever goes on in one person's backyard, you have to go over in that backyard. And if you're invited into that backyard, then you best know what's going on in the backyard. There's business down in Shockoe Bottom that needs to be developed. That's the bottom line. I don't live in Shockoe Bottom. I've done business in Shockoe Bottom and know quite a few business owners in Shockoe Bottom. I've asked a question to those business owners. How important it is to you to have development in the Shockoe Bottom? And every last one of them have said it's very important to me. I've talked to folks that live in the Shockoe Bottom area that are there by special permission, because it was never a residence down there, it was always business. But those folks have said also, we welcome the development. Why are folks coming up before City Council today hollering about a baseball diamond, disrespecting our mayor like they disrespect our president?
Please.
And have the audacity to not do your homework because you're standing here emotionally. It doesn't bother to me whether folks accept me or not because I support the development. It don't bother me. Because there are times when folks didn't accept me.
Still don't.
Then it still doesn't matter. The bottom line is, in Richmond, back in the 70s, when they told Richmond, Virginia, that they were not going to let us expand no more in Chesterfield or in Henrico, this is it. Then we had nowhere else to go. And if you can't grow, you can't go. We have to grow, Richmonders. Those that are standing behind me understand that. We have to go as a city. I learned that God blessed the child that got his own. When are Richmond going to have our own? We keep borrowing from everybody else. And I'm going to sum it up.
That's your mayor. That's your mayor.
We need development. We need development. And we need development. Not only as a city, we even need development in the 8th district. And we are looking forward to that.
And
so
in
again,
6th
God bless the
district.
child that got his own. We need our own.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Davis.
My name is Matthew Davey.
Well
I'm the president of the Shockoe Bottom, or the Historic Shockoe Valley Foundation. Our mission is to protect history and promote progress in Shockoe. On behalf of our board of directors and a committee of over 20 businesses in Shockoe, we heavily support this plan. I also want to address a few other ideas. We support this plan because it protects history with the Slavery and Freedom Heritage Site, and it promotes progress by attracting development with the stadium. I really don't need to elaborate more on that. I've emailed all of you because my mission is not to persuade the opposition. My mission is to persuade all of you. Thank you for your time.
Hello, it's David Napier with the Shockoe Bottom Neighborhood Association. Obviously, I've not changed my support for this project. I'm excited about it. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's not about baseball.
Guess we'll have to roll some
It's about
pavement
setting
over his
historic
granddaddy's
concourses within
grave.
that ball diamond that creates all the other development opportunity, which then frees up the boulevard, obviously. Where are the jobs? One of the speakers. Well, if you don't build it, there won't be any. So that answers that.
Just like the
Anyone
stadium. What a
on
job
council
at the
really
stadium
have
for the Redskins.
an opportunity, has someone brought forth a plan that can actually fund this heritage site, which is the biggest single winner of this whole project? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to get built in any way near $30 million without this project. I mean, God bless those that are willing to give some money to it, but the big donors want to know that the project has a chance to succeed. And I'm just worried that the state won't even pull its money if there's not some decisions made to get behind this and get behind it now. The amendments proposed look like it's pretty much would just kill it anyway. So, you know, your opportunity tonight is to kill it, I guess. I hope you don't do that. I'm excited about
I
this
hope you
opportunity.
kill
Thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you, Mr. Napier. Mr. Ayers?
Good evening, my name is Justin Ayers. I'd like to thank the President and Vice President of the Council.
I'd like to thank everybody here tonight. No matter what side of this issue you're on, it shows that we are all loving this city, no matter what the campaign says, we love this city. Thank you.
I'm a resident of the FAM.
I wish I could sell my damn house and move out into the county. City
I'm the President of
sucks.
the Richmond Business Alliance and a member of Leadership Metro Richmond's class of 2014. When I first moved here 5 years ago, I felt like an outsider. Much of the city appeared xenophobic and unwelcoming. I jokingly told people that in 40 years, I might be considered a proper Richmonder. Over the years, I've seen new and exciting ideas take shape and gain momentum, only to eventually be dismissed or marginalized. When I asked why, people simply stated, "This is Richmond." The word "no" has defined this community for too long. The phrase, "This is Richmond," should not be an impediment to change, but a celebration of everything that this city is and can be. I am here tonight to introduce a new word to the ongoing conversation about Richmond. That word is yes. Yes, Richmond is awesome. Yes, this plan, while admittedly not perfect, does convert downtown into a thriving commercial, residential, and cultural center that not only respects history, but educates the world about Richmond's place in it. Yes, Richmond has a troubled past. Some feel that we as a community can never heal from our historical wounds. To that, I say, yes, this is Richmond, and we will heal. As Winston Churchill said, to improve is to change, to perfect is to change often. Yes, this city often reluctant to change. However, if Richmond is to remain relevant in the 21st century, we must learn to incorporate our stewardship of history with our responsibility to this region's future. Yes, this plan can do the unthinkable. Transform the former capital of the Confederacy into a modern city embodying the notion that historical preservation and sustainable economic development are not mutually exclusive concepts. Yes, it's time to stop driving with our gaze focused on the rearview mirror. Yes, I urge this council to vote in favor of this plan, and so we can all tell the world, yes, this is Richmond. Let's make history.
No, build over top of the people's grave. You must be out of your mind.
Mr. President, my name is
Man,
Charles
what
Black.
kind of drug they on?
I'm a native Richmonder, been
Come
here
on,
all my
LeBron.
life, 69 years. Former city employee and a retired business analyst, and I'm qualifying my statement on the basis that I'm neither for nor against this particular project. The reason I'm coming here, I'm giving you some food for thought with respect to what has happened in the past when we had to make decisions of this magnitude.
Spending all them millions
First
of
of all, we had
dollars.
6th Street Marketplace,
Come on.
a failure.
That's right.
Richmond redevelopment of Fulton, an area where I grew up. It took 40 years for them to wind up
trying to develop homes in that area. And I was displaced as a result thereof. I'm speaking in the tone of a dear friend of mine who's now deceased. That would be Earl Robinson, who came before you time and time again, vocalizing your decision-making process does not fit the mold of what we tend to do here in Richmond, Virginia. Thirdly, there was a Travelers building on Main Street, the 800 block. The city gave $300,000 to a developer out in England and displaced my business at that time, and it was a failure.
That's right.
The Nora School landfill project, which I happen to work with the city on, where they developed it, the methane gas process. I informed them then, as a senior construction inspector for the city of Richmond, that that's a bad deal. They're putting too much weight on an old pipeline and showing up it broke.
Yes, it
When
did.
you come down to the bottom line, everything that we have done in the past
Been a
that
failure.
leads to failure leads to decisions that you have to make, not one that I have to make.
That's right.
The Redskin Development Project,
A failure.
everybody that came to that particular program saw the benefit of it, but they're not looking at the negative side of it. No business profit from Richmond. The canisters and the information that was given out was
False.
by outside companies.
That's
We had
right.
a lawsuit on a hotel.
Would you mind summarizing?
I'm summarizing right now. We had a hotel down here in the lower area. Where,
All of it was a
we had a
failure.
lawsuit there that represented. My argument to you is just to make the right decision.
For
I don't
once.
care what you decide,
For once.
but make the right decision. And don't let your mind be clogged by the high-powered dollar. Thank you.
Look out there, act like they on, right on, baby.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Williams. I am a resident of the 6th District Eastview area. My relatives
Tell us.
landowners on those hills just above Shockley Valley since the turn of the century, so I think I have a right to say something. Also, from a professional point of view, I've looked at the area, and it's, when you compare what could be there to areas like Charlotte or areas like the Inner Harbor, we need to grow and become just as competitive as that. Architecturally, probably the best use of that would be a multi-use stadium, and we're not emphasizing the issue that it's a multi-use stadium. When I was a little boy, the most fascinating thing you could do is go to a football game, and our culture was that football game in Richmond. Richmond Public Schools needs additional recreation facilities, places where young people can have pride and development. These type of things reinforce the historical aspects of that area. If you look at Hampton University, they have a grave facility or a monumental graveyard within 50 feet and adjacent to their stadium, and that graveyard is as big as a football field, and it gives integrity to and honor to the activities that occur in that multi-use facility. Across the street is their Commons facility, and across the street from that area within 50 feet is their historic campus. We can create a historic campus down there, and we can make it a positive element. It can be Shocker Yard as a name for it. If you look at the areas like Wilmington, Wilmington, North Carolina, and you look at Charleston, those are the models of scale that we should be trying to adopt. And in that way, we can be historically correct. And if you look at the Tredegar area, the population down there on today, minimal. When you have a folk festival, you have activity. So you need reinforcing elements when you work in developing a given area. And one last comment is we have St. John's Park. It's not active now, and we can continue to have parks, but that's not generating large enough populations to be useful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Chris Mallow. I'm a member of Mr. Hilbert's district. I've lived in many of the districts of the city, and I'm sure by the time I die, I'll live in every single one. I've first wanted to thank all of you. I used to be a critic of City Council and the administration in general, but the amount of work you put in reaching out to the public meetings, the reaching out to the press, the responding to my lengthy emails. I know how little the city actually pays you in salary, and the amount of work that you guys have been putting into this project to accept public input. Extremely impressive. Thank you. I have 2 arguments, a few logical, a few at heart. The first I want to put out is that people should not forget the benefit the Flying Squirrels are to the community. They're not just a baseball team. They are a group, they are an advocacy group for the community. Just in a few weeks, they're going to be doing a baseball glove drive for the rec department. Just one of the hundreds of different things they do throughout the year to benefit the community. In terms of the logical argument, you're all smart people. We're going to be getting a world-class slavery museum. Just makes sense. We're going to be resolving the food desert. One of the main reasons why I haven't lived in Churchill yet is because there's not an adequate grocery store. This plan brings a great grocery store downtown. It's going to bring jobs closer to the people in lower income. You know, right now there aren't that many jobs down there. This is going to increase the number of jobs that are going to be close to people, so they're not
minimum
going to have
wage,
to drive. They can
seasonal.
take public transportation to all these new jobs. Tax revenue makes sense. We're putting development on Boulevard. We're putting development on one of the busiest corridors of 95 and 64, something that neither Chesterfield or Henrico have. Now, the big argument is my argument from the heart. I don't want to leave the city. Oh, time blows up. I don't want to leave the city. This plan shows that the city's moving forward. I want to stay. I want to help create jobs. This plan does that. Thank you.
Not for the minimum wage and seasonal, buddy. That don't work.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President, and members of council, my name is Davis Boudreau. I'm a member of a resident of the 1st District, and for these and many other reasons articulated, I urge the support of this plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boudreau. My apologies for calling you by first name. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council President, Madam Vice President, and Council people. My name is Forrest Clark, and my wife and I are city residents. We're not affiliated with, nor do we stand to financially gain from this development. I wanted to make that clear to you. As Richmond residents, we were seeking bold and decisive leadership when we helped elect our current mayor and our current council. Richmond, we believe, is on a great trajectory. We want to see these positive changes to our city continue, not only to build buildings, but to provide revenue our city desperately needs to serve the underserved of Richmond. Most of us understand a simple concept that spending for our pressing issues that were brought up by many of the speakers tonight requires revenue to come into our city. It's disingenuous to stand up here and ask for improved schools and services from our city while railing against development that generates revenue, an investment in our city that's important to Richmond's growth and continued development. To best serve the needs of our city, I'm asking you to embrace bold steps forward. We can discuss 1,000 alternatives, but alternatives without committed investors and stakeholders aren't plans. They're just wishful thinking. If we fail to seize this opportunity for our city, we'll continue to see the same tired story continue on that I've seen all my life. Inaction and continued delay from Richmond's true potential will continue to live on. I've asked opponents of this proposal time and time again for solutions and options to obtain these sorts of investments and provide this sort of revenue, but there's never a reply, just platitudes and endless complaints as empty as the gravel lots that have sat vacant for more than my lifetime. I express my strong support. Please vote yes to this plan and continue moving this forward for our city.
Child, please.
Good evening, Mr. President, council members. My name is Rachel Burgess, and I am a native Richmonder and resident of the 2nd District. By trade, I am a researcher. I recently led the WireMA study that researched how Richmond could better attract and retain young professionals. We interviewed young professionals in Richmond and young professionals in cities that we aspire to be. And with this research in mind, it is imperative that we make our downtown thrive. Yes, our city is becoming cooler and more attractive, but we haven't even
But
tapped
what
into
expense?
our potential or where we need to be competitive today and in the future. When I look at this plan, I see elements that young professionals like me want. Community is what is most important to young professionals today, and this is confirmed in the research that we have conducted. And this plan allows us to engage in our downtown in new and vibrant ways that are ideal to strengthening the bonds of community, and that will encourage us to lay roots and stay here for the long term. Moreover, the Boulevard plan is also just as exciting, and this plan will enable young professionals to live, work, play, and shop in the urban neighborhoods where they love to live. Finally, knowing that the taxes generated from these projects will help improve schools in the city is one of the strongest factors. It will help encourage and make it more likely that young professionals, as they start to have families, will not move into the suburbs, but be able to stay in the cities and the neighborhood where they love. This vote is for today, but it is not for today. It is for the future of our city. So vote yes. Vote for the future thriving of our city. Thank you.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President and City Council, my name is Steve Uphoff, and I am the property owner of the Exxon station at Shockoe Bottom.
Oh, Lord.
That station, but I do own
Sucking the life out of everybody.
for 11 years, having purchased the land from ExxonMobil Corporation. It is quite interesting to me that I have never been asked my opinion of the property that I own, that 1/3 of the stadium tends to be the borderline of my station. The stadium that you are proposing actually encompasses the actual boundaries of our property. So you're probably wondering where I stand in regards to your development and proposed development.
Very
Having looked at this
interesting.
and recognizing that I will lose this station and lose the income from the rental income from the facility, I wanted
Parking.
to share my opinion for you to consider. I am a developer and have large properties across the Commonwealth of Virginia. Many of those properties were closed when we acquired them from ExxonMobil Corporation. We reinvested our dollars and reopened those stations. We took blighted sites and we made them beautiful. We created value, and I ask you to consider the value that your proposal will create for the city of Richmond and its constituents and the population. And I ask you to consider that I will give up my property for the betterment of all the citizens, for the city of Richmond, and of all of its benefits. Thank you very much.
More money in your pocket. More money, and more money. God damn.
Good evening, President Samuels, Madam Vice President, and all members of City Council. My name is Sandra Rhodes Whitehead. I'm a registered architect, and I'm also serving as president of CREW Richmond for 2014. CREW is a national organization that stands for Commercial Real Estate Women. With nearly 9,000 members nationally, our Richmond chapter has just under 70 members. Members are all professionals in various occupations that are associated with commercial real estate. We have architects, engineers, bankers, real estate attorneys, appraisers, accountants, etc. We had the honor recently of having Mayor Jones speak to us at one of our meetings and tell us about his vision of revitalizing RDA. And he was a fantastic speaker, and he answered many, many questions that we had. After the meeting, we called a special board meeting to discuss it further. And after much deliberation, we decided unanimously that we, the board of CREW Richmond, will support, and we want to support, the development as proposed by Mayor Jones. Not only the development in Shockoe Bottom, which really has so much potential, but also the development along the boulevard. So I offer to you a letter from our board of directors, again, in support of this development, and if there's anything we can do to help you, we're
More money, and your money. It's all about that money.
Are we soliciting services?
Good evening. My name is Nicholas Jankaitis. I'm a resident of the city. I live in Churchill. And regardless of what Ms. Newbill does tonight, she will
I
still
know we
be our
could
city
build it
council
over at
member.
the Hollywood
No
Cemetery.
vote is ever going to get rid of a city council member. I'm sorry, but this is not that politically charged. As I walked up, somebody said, "Oh look, they're all wearing suits."
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That same person said, "We're the enemy wearing suits." I'm not wearing a suit. I'm a young urban professional. I put my money where my mouth is. I bought property in the city so that way I can support the school system, so that way my boys can one day go to the same school system that everybody's decrying as horrible. Well, I realized they need money.
They
my
need
support.
money.
They need my activity. This project puts more money in the city. Somebody said that this is gentrification that's going on in Churchill and Chaco Valley. It's not gentrification. If I'm the epitome of gentrification, that's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm a young urban professional. I'm not gentrified. They say the louder you yell, the less you say.
Oh, it's on now. It's time to rumble.
Everybody take a breath.
It's awesome that I stand up for this Constitution on a regular basis. That's what I do for a living. I can't say what I do for a living, but that's what I do. So here I am defending these people. Oh gosh. Hey, by the way, the baseball stadium can be used year-round. We're having a problem with Venture Richmond wanting a amphitheater.
Like the Arthur Ashe Center.
Use this as an amphitheater. Problem solved. Have a good day. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Sucking hard.
McCarthy. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the Chaco Partnership. I'm here this evening to provide testimony on behalf of the organization. We believe the Chaco ball field facility can prove to be a successful proposition for the Richmond Flying Squirrels as well as the city. Further, the present opportunity to advance the full-scale efforts for the preservation of Lumpkin's jail, burial sites, and any other important opportunity for interpretation. It is a matter of equal importance to the stadium. Together, those two components can provide additional energy and accelerate further mixed-use development in the Chaco neighborhood. The historic element is very important, we think, because it offers a real particular element that enhances the interpretive Richmond's important role in United States history. The partnership is also encouraged with the General Assembly's current consideration of potential funding to support the Heritage Development Program. Through our comments tonight, the Chaco Partnership is reaffirming its earlier December 17th letters of support for the revitalized RVA initiative by the mayor. We urge council to support this resolution before you tonight. Use the next several weeks or months
Look at Snow White.
Confidence city council would require to coalesce around a specific development program for Chaco as well as the Volvo. Affirm what you can all be happy with in moving forward, not what you individually don't. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Massa. I'm a public relations major graduating in 2014 from VCU. I want to speak out in support of the Chaco Stadium and Loving RVA campaign because it will create jobs at every level for the bottom. I used to work in the bottom. I worked right on 17th Street and I looked at that big empty marketplace every day. And the only time that, sales were boosted was when events were happening. I saw week after week less and less people coming out to the marketplace. And, you know, speaking from both someone that wants to go into the professional field and a bartender, I think all of the levels of jobs really need to be kind of thought over. We need to be able to retain the talent that VCU and Virginia Union and Virginia State, as well as the John Tyler and Jay Sarge, we need to be able to retain the talent that we are cultivating there. We need to be able to give them jobs because
Let's kill a few more
the majority of my
students.
peers are looking outside of Richmond after they spent 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, maybe 8 years at VCU and in Richmond. So I think that this opportunity would be a step in the right direction to kind of lower that unemployment rate, to get graduates of both the high schools and the colleges into jobs. You know, the restaurants are only gonna, I keep hearing about restaurants and small businesses, you know, being the victim of this stadium, and I really think that those are the businesses that are gonna see the most improvement from this opportunity. Thank you for your time.
Sure, minimum wage, seasonal.
Good evening, President and Vice President. My name is Brian Singletary. I'm also a VCU Future Communications Practitioner here in Richmond. I would like to just thank the City of Richmond myself, coming from a different area than here, for giving me opportunities to learn about its history and opportunities that exist here. And I would task everyone here to take that time to personally take the time to go out and experience that history, because if I feel that that is lacking, being a person that worked down in the Shockoe area, I didn't see that many participants of the history that people are so fond of trying to take part in and so actively fighting for. I feel that specifically the building of the Slavery and Heritage Freedom Site, it will give that opportunity for education for the students here in Richmond, as well as people coming to Richmond. I feel like that is something that we don't take enough time to engage in, as well as revitalizing and giving those people from outside the incentive of coming to Richmond. Because I feel that we have to start with something. This is a point that we can start as educators, bringing those people in, giving them opportunities and a focal point to show their students that, hey, here's where you come from, and here's where it came from, and here's where we have to go. And if you give those future educators those opportunities, that focal point of connecting with their students and people in their courses, I feel like, number one, the aspects of education that we see issues with will not have that problem, because they will take some type of obligation to that community that they are taking from and have feel a need to give back. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, we got more speakers than we have hours again, so who is last in line right for the
Great. Cut the line, that's right.
4 different people raising their hands. That cannot be possible. Who is the last person in line? All right. Ms. McQuinn, Delegate McQuinn? Yes. You're the last person in line. That's where we're going to cut this. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council. My name is Tom Lorraine. I'm a resident of the 5th District. And
Look at these.
Here over in the trauma unit that you mentioned earlier, right next door. And it's been
Look at these things.
working nights, days, everything but our shifts. I can say parking and traffic will not be that bad because I leave from there all the time. We live in the city. There's going to be a little bit of traffic. It's not that bad. It's not quite 25,000 employees that are living all at once, as was stated earlier. But I had to mention that. One of the things I hear a lot from the opposition is railing against parking, the grocery store not filling needs, not needing housing, all of these things. The bottom line with them is they don't want the baseball stadium. You take the baseball stadium out, all of a sudden all those other things make sense. They're beautiful, they're great, we're all for it. So the whole argument is it's a red herring. It's the baseball stadium they don't want. Well, if the baseball stadium were being built on the Lumpkin site, on the burial ground, tearing down a physical structure that is a known slave trading house, I wouldn't be up here speaking. But that's not the case. And history is going to be represented through the plan that the mayor has. And I would hope it would grow, and that burial ground over there would further be developed, not just the Lumpkin site. The burial ground has been out of VCU's control for 3 years now, with some of the similar protesting, traveling roadshow people that were up here earlier, laying down in front of the streets and all that.
Traveler roadshow.
Nothing with it, nothing. So I want to know where their money's coming from for this 8-block proposal that they have. Who their developers are, what their plan is, other than just having a temper tantrum, stomping their feet and saying that you can't go fall apart. So with that, I'm in favor for it. I ask you to vote yes. Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Will Payne, and my wife and I moved here from Seattle in March of 2011. And we moved here for a few reasons. One of which was to be closer to family, but also because Richmond we saw as a place where we could set down roots and raise our family. So when we moved here, we moved to Shockoe Slip. We moved to Shockoe Slip because it was a vibrant, thriving place. And one of the things that we got to know as we lived there was how 95 and the transition into Shockoe Bottom, it is a line. It's as you see the empty spaces, those empty spaces become barriers. It truly is a border to a different place. And now my wife and I own a home in Union Hill, another neighborhood that is up and coming. It's thriving in a really positive way, and it's an exciting place to be. And so when I see this project, I see it as a knitting together of two thriving neighborhoods and giving Shockoe Bottom the advantage to take advantage of urban bones that are already there, that are good bones for a city. And it's not just about a stadium, it's about bridging a line of division in the city. So I urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it was bad enough when they ran all the poor people out of Churchill and took their homes. That's how those people got in Churchill, ran all the poor people out.
I'm for this project. Why am I for this project? I'm for anything development-wise that's going to bring people down to the bottom, and that's customers for me. I have roughly 80 to 90 employees whose livelihood depends on how well we do. The more people that come down here, the better it's going to be for them. Their livelihoods depend on this issue also. Times have been tight lately, the economy's not doing so good, so I'm very much for this project. It's better to move forward than backwards, and to do nothing at all. We've been down there for 22 years. I talked to my accountant the other day. Through meals tax and other taxes that we generated for the city of Richmond, have gone into the millions. So in any other venture of this nature, my guess is they would do the same. Like I said, from what I understand, this project it does a little something for everybody. So
like the Redskins Stadium.
I've been to go to the Science Museum. I love the Science Museum, but how many people does it hold? 5. You pay your ticket, you walk around, that's it. This development will employ, I'm guessing, in the hundreds. So anyway, I'm here for my employees so they can keep their jobs and pay their rent and put money on their and put food on their tables. And I strongly urge
Minimum wage.
consider
Know that.
on this debate this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jay Calvin. My family grew up in Montrose, and myself grew up in the Blackwell area. First, I want to say I understand the opposition's arguments. I respect them. However, I feel like the best way to preserve history is to live in the present in which we are creating new histories, one where we as youth and our generation are continuing to build upon the lessons learned from the past rather than learning from the past. As far as the economic development, I feel like the stadium, as well as all the endeavors that goes along with it, will continue to create progress. And with that, like I said, my friends and my family, as well as myself, has few instabilities with jobs, not because of negligence or incompetence on our parts, however, because of owners letting us go because they can't afford to hire as many people. And with that, I believe that with the influx of jobs and economy in the area, it will make a more stable environment for everyone. But as far as the historical value, I feel like it's not the city's jobs or the council's job to educate our youth, my nieces and nephew, about our history. My parents educated me about the history of Richmond and my personal history, and their grandparents, and so forth and so on. I feel like it's our job to pass that on, not you guys. Again, thank you for your time.
right.
And I am for the progression of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Warren Braxton. I'm a managing partner of several minority businesses in Shockoe Bottom. And I actually had a well thought out speech for the night. Standing in line, I was asked the question, how can a black man stand in this line to speak in favor? So my grandmother told me when grown folk talk, you answer them. So tonight I'm going to answer, how can a black man stand before this? First, because I'm a black man that grew up in the city's Randolph Village. That was blessed with enough business sense to work my way out to now I can be a business owner. And the first rule of business is, anything that you want to do, you have to find the money to support it. We want to preserve our heritage, and I think that the Slave Museum will be great, but we have to find the money to do it. Let's stop calling it the ballpark proposal, because baseball is just a vehicle. At the end of the day, there are a lot of development that is going on. So when we say no, let's really, really think about what we're saying no to. No one on city council, myself, and probably 85–90% of the people in this room are going to be the people trying to get a job at Kroger to bag groceries, trying to get a job at the hotel to take luggage upstairs, trying to get a job working in this museum, trying to get a job to sell hot dogs at the ballpark.
Minimum wage.
So we say no, we really need to think what we're saying no to. What we're saying no to are all the people in Richmond who need jobs. We're saying no to all the mom and pop store owners in Shockoe Bottom that have held Shockoe Bottom down by themselves with no major development for years. So how am I a black man that says yes? Because we need to support what we need to do in Shockoe Bottom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please. At the minimum wage
Hi,
and
my name is,
seasonal
Tony
jobs.
Adams, CEO of Black Mountain
That's
LLC in
pitiful.
Shockoe Bottom. I'm from Manhattan, New York, Harlem specifically. I've been a business owner in Shockoe Bottom for 14 years respectively, and I employ 6 people. It's small in comparison to what they're attempting to do with regard to the baseball stadium. I sat patiently in the crowd and I listened to the opposition, and I think people made a lot of valid points about their feelings about preserving history. But with history, we always have to move forward. Shockoe Bottom has sat idle for years. You have ambulances that park on concrete. You know, we have limited businesses down there, and we're talking about a baseball stadium, hotel, supermarket, and we have a new farmer's market where it'll be an outdoor pavilion for multi-use purposes. And the vegetable people will still be there selling fresh fruit. It's just weird that we have a problem about moving forward in this city. I like to say specifically that I'm an African American and I have sensitivities about slavery, but I'm an educated person that knows that you can't live in the past. We have to live in current times. And current times is y'all are elected officials and y'all have difficult decisions that y'all must make, and y'all have to have sensitivity to your constituents that you represent in your areas. However, the bigger picture is that we want change in Shockoe Bottom, and it helps the community overall. We're not just thinking about ourselves. And when you say baseball stadium, yes, baseball is seasonal, but you have football, you have hockey, you have outdoor events that can be used in that facility. I'm an advertiser and I'm an entertainment promoter. I would love to bring entertainment down to Shockoe Bottom. And I'd like to say in closing, business is about tough decisions. Being an elected official is about making tough votes. But vote yes, and once you are out of office, however which it may go in your political career, you will be grateful that you voted yes. Thank you.
Oh, Lord. Listen to this. A young loser.
My name is Andy Thornton. I live in the Spaziano's district, but I own, like with my wife, we own a New House, which is on 14th Street. I also have a warehouses over on 18th Street, so I crisscross between this area where the farmers market and then the proposed ball stadium is on a daily basis. I was instrumental in trying to start Shaka Design, starting Shaka Design District. We've had a contest called Envision This. We managed to get 27 different entries into that. We had 20 people show up talking about how can we make the Shaka in general a better area. So there's a lot of proactivity and a lot of passion in trying to make this a wonderful destination. And we've got to be honest, right now, Shaka Bottom is fairly broken. It has a lot of potential. But if you're looking at all the broken chain link fences, the parking lots that are really pretty in bad shape, so there's a lot that we can do. I listen to the opposition, and in many ways my heart agrees with many of the things that they say as far as history and honoring that. But I don't think this is a discussion that the people in the opposition have a moral high ground on this. As a business owner, I certainly agree with that, and I think that getting a heritage museum to honor history is going to come about only with dollars that are coming from the public and the private sources. I want to say just one thing, and I may get booed for this, but listening to the opposition, I was kind of dismayed by the comments about Venture Richmond especially. I actually am on the board of Venture Richmond, and you would be amazed at how much time and how many thousands of hours go into working for the city, the amount of money. Mr. Poole especially was deliberately erroneous in his statements. There's a tremendous amount of money that is given to the city by private ventures, including ourselves. They do wonderful things that you all attend, whether it be 2nd Street, whether it be Easter's on Parade, whether it be the Folk Festival. So you may disagree with some of their positions, but to take them to task as being crony capitalists and the evil guys is really erroneous. Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
Good evening, I'm Stephen Lackey.
It must be the water.
I would like to say that I'm in support of this project for 2 reasons. First is potential. When I drive from the 5th District, anywhere from Aspen to Shaka Bottom, I see potential. I see concrete slabs out there now. I see desolate areas. I see food deserts. I see potential there for growth. I see for potential for folks who spend their money down in the area. The second thing I see, or second point I have to make, is a package. I'm up here, believer of the
Look
package.
at the demon.
There is a museum, there's a grocery store, a ballpark. There's a number of things that are attracted to this package deal. And I'm in support of the entire package, not one part of it, but the entire thing. I look forward to the day where I can take my family down on a Saturday, go down to the ballpark, have dinner and bottoms up pizza, go to the ballpark, and before going to the ballpark, go to the museum, and then cap the night off with the game. Look forward to that day. And then the last thing I want to say is, if you look at the picture up there that you guys stare at, it has so much potential to be extended to the right.
Yeah, but not on the back of the people like that.
The new package. Thank you.
They might bust in staff like they did for the stadium.
President, council members, I'm really excited that the possible opportunity Richmond has.